Today we're going to show you how to build a simple survey form onto your WordPress website. And the software we're going to use is Gravity Forms and GF Chart. Now, before we get into the technical side of things, I'm conscious that most of us are not trained market researchers, so I just want to pick up a couple of issues just to make sure you're heading in the right direction. And the first one is to keep it simple. And I'm talking here about the questions. There should be as few questions as possible. The questions should be short and simple. And the reason for that is it's unlikely that people are actually going to respond to the survey. Here at GF Chart, only 6% of people that contact our service desk leave us feedback. So it's pretty unlikely people will contact. And also, when you get the results, you don't want to have to spend a lot of time understanding what they're saying and trying to interpret. So it needs to be simple for your customers and it needs to be simple for you. And the other thing is that you need to understand the difference between feelings and actions. Now, what do I mean by that? Feelings are all about how people feel about the service that's been delivered, and that's quite an emotional type thing. Actions is pretty black and white. Did somebody get what they expected or not? Now, clearly it depends what sort of business you're in. If you're in fast food, for example, it's a lot more about did you get what you asked for? Was it quick? Whereas if you're a gourmet restaurant, take it for granted that people are going to get what they wanted from a menu point of view, but it's all about the ambiance and the other things to do with the environment. So I'm just suggesting that in your questions just be clear about whether you're looking for a feeling type answer or an action type answer. Okay, look, that's enough on the questions. Now let's kick into the technical side of things. The scenario I'm thinking of here is a basic customer satisfaction survey for some sort of service type business, open during the day. Perhaps it's a cafe or a service centre, maybe a bank or perhaps a pizza delivery outlet. And we're just going to create a very simple customer service form. So let's start from scratch. I've got Gravity Forms here. I'm going to start by creating a new form, and I'm going to call this form a customer service form. So let's put that in, customer service form, and I'm going to create the form. I'm not going to ask for people to give their names. I'm only going to ask two questions, and both these I'm going to use radio buttons. So let's press radio button here and make some changes. And the first question I'm going to ask is, how would you rate our service today? And I'm just going to give some very simple answers. Three options. One is great. The second one is okay. And the final one is not good. Look, you can add more here, but I'm just trying to keep it simple. This is going to be a required field. In other words, people have to answer it. And that's probably it for that one. And now let's add another radio button. And this one is going to be about, when did you visit us today? When did you visit us today? And let's say the first choice is morning. I know, what's that say? 9 a.m. till 12. The next one's lunchtime. Let's say 12 till 2 p.m. And the final one can be afternoon. I know, let's say 2 till 5 p.m. So once again, very simple, not complicated. This is a required field. And now let's update the form. And what I will do now is preview it just to have a quick look to see what it looks like. So it's how would you rate our service today? Great, okay, not good. When did you visit us today? Morning, lunchtime or afternoon? Okay, that's good. Look, there's probably some more finessing here, but let's just keep moving. Now let's put it on a page. So let's create a new page. And let's call this page a survey page. And I'm going to add a form. I'm not going to display the title. I'm not going to display the description. I won't display Ajax. And let's select the customer surveys form. Insert the form. Publish. And let's view the page. Look, it's not beautiful. I could do with improving the layout, but you know, it's all right for now. Let's just put a few examples into here just so there's a bit of data in the database so that when we build the charts have actually got something. Let's supposing somebody had a great service and they visited in the morning. I'll just press submit on that. Okay, that's good. We'll need to work on that. Response in a minute, but let's put another one in. How do you rate that? Let's say there's an okay one, and they also came in the morning. I'm just refreshing the page here just to make sure we get a... supposing there was somebody who was okay and it was lunchtime, perhaps it was busy there. I'm just trying to put data into the form here just so that when we start charting things. Oh dear, I just did the wrong one. Survey page, and I know, let's have, it was getting a bit late in the day and it was not good for the afternoon. And let's just do another one, shall we? Just one more. I'm just loading some data into the form. Another great in the afternoon. Perhaps they saw somebody different. Excellent. Right, now we've now got a form set up. We've got some data in the database. Let's now move to charting. So we go to Forms, Charts and Calculations. And let's add new. And let's say survey, what should we call this? Survey customer satisfaction. And the form I'm going to attach it to is the customer service form. And then I'll create chart. And what I'm going to do is select a pie chart because I think that's going to be best. I'm going to go for a default chart. You'll see what that is when we show the example later. And I'm going to label the segments and then select the data. I would like to know how would you rate our service today. I'm not going to use any of these other options, so I'll just move on. The chart title, I'm actually going to put the question in so it's completely obvious to anybody reading it. How would you rate our service today? Question mark. And let's preview this. And there you have the pie chart. It's looking a little bit odd because these labels on the side here aren't showing up properly. And that's basically because there's not enough space. So I'm just going to change the space of the object here. And this looks like being a bit complicated, but don't worry about it. It's very easy. I'm just going to copy some of that example code there and put it in this additional code box. And just put the curly bracket on the end. I'm going to change the width from 400 to 600 pixels and save that. And when I preview that, now you can see it's much better. How would you rate our service today? You can see the greats, the not goods, and the okays. And if you just move your mouse over, you can see it actually gives the number of people who've done that. That looks very good to me. Look, that's the first chart I'm going to do. I'm just going to do a couple more just so we get the full picture. And we'll do this next one as a column chart. So I pressed on Add New. Let's do, when did you visit us today? ? And once again, we select the customer service form, create chart. Wait for this to open, and I'm going to have bar chart here. I'm going to go for horizontal. I'm not going to have a legend here, but we can change any of this later. We don't like it. Let's move on to selected data. The main axis here is going to be, when did you visit us today? I want them to count how many service responses there are. I don't want any of these other ones, so I'll move on to the next. The title is going to be, when did you visit us today? ? And the horizontal axis label is going to be number of visits, and the vertical axis label is going to be time of day. And let's preview that. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Obviously, decimal points here is not ideal, but we've only got 2 visits, so as this survey form fills up, it will automatically adjust to being whole numbers. That's perfectly okay. So let's now move on to another one. I'm going to get a bit more sophisticated than this. What I want to know is, by time of day, how happy were people? So let's add new title, and let's call this service rating by shift. Let's call it. Shift is just short form for time of day. And let's go attach it to the customer service form, press on that. Now I'm going to do something very similar to the previous one, but I want it to show as percentages. And you'll understand what I mean in a minute. So I'm going to go for a bar chart. I'm going to go for horizontal. I'm going to have a legend this time, and I'm going to select on the right. You'll see in a minute why I've done that. We're going to select the data, and the first thing would be, when did you visit us today? But I'm also going to segment it. Press on this button here. So we're going to segment this data into, how would you rate our service? And I want it to stack it by percent. So you know those pie charts showed how much of 100% each one is. This will do the same for the bars. We'll leave that at count. We'll leave the rest of this, and let's move on to the next one. And the chart title here is service rating by shift, and the horizontal axis label will be, let's call that percentage of visitors, and the vertical axis label will be shift. And now let's preview that. So you see what you've got here. We've got the shifts here, and you can see how many in the morning thought it was great, and how many in the afternoon, how many morning thought it was great, and the same for the lunchtime shift, and same for the afternoon. Now, obviously, with so few entries in the database, it's all pretty clunky here. We've got one there, which obviously 2 ones, 50% each. There was only 1 response there, but over time, this will give a much better impression of what's going on. Now, supposing you don't like something there, you see this thing here says shift, and we want to change that. Let's call that. Let's change that to time of day, shall we? Time of day. And let's save that. And when we preview, you can see this is time of day. You can go back to any of these things and change them. For example, I could make this vertical, which I don't think will look right, but I'm just showing you how you can change it. So there's vertical. No, I don't like that. Let's go back to horizontal. Save that and preview. Okay, so you've got all your charts set up now. All we need to do is put them onto a page. So let's go to new page, which I'm going to call survey results. Survey results. And now let's see the new button here, add chart. Select the chart. The first one I'm going to go was, what was it? It was survey customer satisfaction. Let's insert that. And now let's add another one, which can be, when did you visit us today? And the final one was the one that we just did, which was service rating by shift. Insert calculation. And let's publish that. And view the page. And there you go. There's your survey results. Here you can see exactly how service is being rated. This next one shows you by time of day how many visitors you had. You know, it gives an idea of volume. Seems a bit odd that lunchtime is so quiet. Most places I know aren't like that. And here you can see that by shift or by time of day, you can see what the satisfaction was looking like. So there you have it. There are your survey results.